Hi friends, it's Gwen. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here with a super exciting reading vlog for you. Over on my Patreon, I am hosting a halfway to Halloween 24-hour readathon. It starts tonight at 8 p.m. We're kicking off with some reading sprints and I have a Halloween ambiance that I am dying over. I'm so excited to read and chat with my patrons and friends. I have a huge stack of books that are possibilities. I've really been mood reading this month and I just kind of want to continue that trend. There are 3 reading prompts and there are 3 photo prompts. To check out my photos, definitely check me out on my podcast Instagram at 𝒑𝒂𝒗𝒆. They're pretty simple, basic, easy to handle, but we also have like a whole Discord chat going as well. So a lot of it is happening exclusively over in my Discord channel and on my Patreon. So if you don't want to miss the next readathon, definitely check the link in the description box and consider joining the Night Owls. You do have to be a part of the Barn Owl tier for most of the readathons, but there are some that are open to all tiers. So just keep that in mind. But I want to go ahead and share the books with you. Also, if you're not following me on TikTok at 𝒑𝒂𝒗𝒆, I also shared a little like Friday reads moment and it included all of these books. So let me go ahead and share them with you. I'm hoping to finish this before 8 o'clock. It is currently 6:10, so I have plenty of time if I don't chat too much. But What's Done in Darkness by Laura McHugh. I actually picked this book up yesterday at Prince Books when I was finishing up my bookstore crawl. This is a short little kind of thriller mystery, a little bit horror about this 17-year-old girl that was taken and then her captor released her. And now 5 years later, some other girls are going missing and this detective thinks that maybe she has some clues that can help him find the other girls. Like I said, very short. I am right here, so I should finish it before the readathon, but I am enjoying it. Next, I have some witchy books. I have 3 witchy books that's kind of like the theme. I always like to read witchy books during Halloween, so I was like, let's do kind of like a witchy, you know, prompt. So one of the prompts is to read a witchy book, and then I think another prompt is to read a book with black and orange on the cover, and I don't even remember the third prompt, but oh, a book that scares you. So that could be anything. It could be a book of poetry. It could be a long book. It could be about something that you're scared about. It could be a book that intimidates you, like whatever. Okay, but the 3 witchy books that I have on my TBR is Not the Witchy Wed by April Asher. And this is about a magicless witch, Violet Maxwell, who wants nothing to do with alpha wolf shifter Lincoln Thorne. You know, it's going to be a romance between those two. So I'm very excited about this. And I think this is the first book in a series. Next up, I have Go Hex Yourself by Jessica Clare. And it says there's one hex of an attraction in this romantic comedy. So yeah, it's a rom-com with witchy stuff and hexes, and I love this cover. So this one should be super fun. And like I said, I don't know which ones I'm actually going to read. I'm just kind of going with the flow. The third one I got from one of my patrons, Luna from Luna's Library, Small Town Big Magic by Hazel Beck. And this one is about Emerson Wilde has built the life of her dreams, but when she's attacked by creatures that shouldn't be real and kills them with what can only be called magic, she finds that the past decade of her life has been a lie. So that is that one. Love the cover of this one. And then of course, right after my readathon is over, Bookathon starts. So I have 3 spooky middle grades that I'm hoping to read, and I might just go ahead and start them early. So I have Spirit Hunters by Ellen O, which is one that Keisha from A Book Like You sent me for my birthday. She read this during the last fall Bookathon and she rated it 5 stars. She says it's probably the scariest book she's ever read. So I'm really looking forward to this one. And then I also want to read Dark Waters by Catherine Arden, which is the 3rd book in the Small Spaces Quartet. And then last but not least, I have the 𝒂𝒂𝒏𝒊𝒏𝒈. This is the first book in a series, and I just really want to read this. It's recommended on like all middle grade book recommendations, all spooky middle grade book recommendations. Keisha is like, why has it taken you so long? But hoping to read that as well. So come along with me as I celebrate Halloween, spooky things, and it's just for this like little weekend bit. So I'm very excited about it. It's for 24 hours. We're kicking off at 8 p.m. going until 8 p.m. tomorrow night. Okay, let me give you a little bit more background on what's done in darkness. That quote was actually in the book, and I was like, I love when books do that. Anyway, like I said, I had never heard of this author or the book before, but it was thin, and I love like short books that pack a punch, and this one just sounded so good. This is one of 2021's best beach reads, says Oprah Daily. Anyway, it says 17-year-old Sarah Beth has become increasingly rebellious since her parents found God and moved their family to a remote Arkansas farmstead. She's all but given up on escaping the farm when a masked man appears one stifling summer morning and snatches her out of the cornfield. A week after her abduction, she's found alongside a highway in a bloodstained dress, alive, but her family treats her like she's tainted, and there's little hope of finding her captor, who kept Sarah Beth blindfolded the entire time, never uttering a word. One good thing arises from the horrific ordeal. Sarah Beth leaves the Ozarks and starts a new life. 5 years later, Sarah Beth is struggling to keep her past buried when investigator Nick Farrow calls, convinced that her case is connected to the strikingly similar disappearance of another young girl. Farrow wants Sarah Beth's help, and he'll do whatever it takes to get it, even if that means dragging her back to the last place she wants to go, the hills and hollers of home, to face her estranged family and all her deepest fears. In this riveting new novel from Laura McHugh, blood ties and buried secrets draw a young woman back into the nightmare of her past to save a missing girl, unaware of what awakes her in the darkness. So, you know, trigger warnings for like kidnapping, abduction, toxic family relationships, if religious family things bother you, things like that. But anyway, yeah, so it kind of flips back and forth between the past. So it has Sarah Beth that day, age 17, and then it goes to Sarah now, because she goes by Sarah now. Yeah, Sarah now. Set up for reading sprints, and I did finish the book that I wanted to finish before sprints officially kick off. So let me show you that, but I wanted to show you. Here I am. That I'm going to read next, which is Not the Witchy Wed by April Asher. Have my headphones, earbuds, phone, mic. Here's the book that I just finished. It was short, but it felt a little bit longer for some reason. I don't know if it was the pacing or what. I would say that it was kind of mysterious, but the back of the book tells you exactly what the book is about. There's no like, basically something happened to her when she was younger, and now she's working with this detective, Nick, to see like if other missing girls cases is connected to hers and stuff like that. And then you find out what ultimately, or who ultimately did the stuff to Sarah Beth when she was younger. But you don't really find it out to the end, which I appreciated. And even though it was like slower paced, I did enjoy the book, and I could see people like really liking this. But I just thought it was okay for me. The twists and the who done it and the why done it and all that, I'm sure you could piece it together if you wanted to. Like as you were reading, there were enough clues to like figure it out, but I liked just not worrying about it and just being along for the ride. So I'm giving What's Done in Darkness 3 out of 5 stars. And I would recommend it if you're looking for a short read to boost those numbers at the end of the year for your Goodreads reading challenge number. But yeah, so finish that one. I need to write a review of that at some point tomorrow. I have about 20 minutes before I start streaming, but Not the Witchy Wed, like I said, you have Magicless Witch Violet Maxwell. So wants nothing to do with alpha wolf shifter Lincoln Thorne, the man who broke her heart, her fragile teenage heart, But when the two of them are forced by arcane supernatural laws to find mates, Violet and Lincoln agree to fake date their way to a fake mating in order to conjure themselves some time. The joke's on them. When old feelings make a reappearance along with Violet's magic, they both realize there's nothing fake about their feelings. But there are old secrets and looming threats that could snatch away their happily ever after again. One thing's for sure, magic doesn't make dating and love any easier. In Not the Witchy Wed, April Usher brings all the hilarity and sexy, sweet moments you love in a romantic comedy, plus a fun dose of magic to this spellbinding new series about being sexy, single, and supernatural in New York City. Okay, I'm getting ready to send out the link, but before I did that, I have Halloween trivia ready to go. I also have some popcorn ready to go. It's gonna be such a fun night with my besties. There you go. Good morning. It is very early in the morning. I woke up about 6:30 this morning and took Charlie out, had some coffee, and started reading Not the Witchy Wed. And I'm actually really enjoying this despite my hesitation going into the first page. I was like, ooh, I don't know if this is going to be my thing, but I trusted the process and I've continued to read and I'm really enjoying it. Last night, Summer said it's like a cozy paranormal, and I would definitely say, yes, that's it, because it's giving me like cozy mystery vibes, but without like the murder. But it is about this supposedly magicless witch who is up for prima, so like head witch of the area or something like that. And it was supposed to be her sister because she's a triplet, but it's supposed to be the firstborn. But you have to be like mated, you know, you have to be with someone. I don't know if I'm making sense. I don't really understand that whole thing. I'm just in it for the romance between her and Lincoln. Violet is coming into her power and her magic, and it smells like lavender, and it's like this purple color. And Lincoln is this like shapeshifter. He's like the alpha male of the area because his dad was, and then I guess his dad died, and now like he's in charge. I don't know, but he's like touch her and you will die sort of energy. But they have a past, and one of the things that I didn't understand was why he didn't just tell her why he didn't show up. So when they were seniors in high school, she agreed to run away with him and start a new life. and he didn't show up to the rendezvous point. And I'm not going to tell you why he didn't show up or like why he won't talk to her about it. It's a whole thing, but it makes sense like for this story. So I really am enjoying it. There's lots of things, like I don't really care about the council and like all of the in and outs of the primas and the alphas and all of that. But like the romance and stuff, I am here for it. I love her sisters, and I don't know, I just love the energy between these two. So I'm about halfway now. I would say I probably have like 2 more hours of reading. So it is 7 a.m. So I'm going to try to read as much as I can this morning, and I'll let you know my final thoughts when I finish. I'm almost done with my book, and I just made my bagel sandwich, egg and cheese bagel, classic Gwen breakfast. Gonna finish up my book. Okay, y'all, I just finished my first book, Not the Witchy Wed by April Asher, and I almost want to give this 4 stars. It's somewhere between a 3 and a 4 stars. The magical bit, I wish, okay, the thing about glossaries is like they are helpful, but when they're at the end, you don't really see them in time. It's not until after you read the book. So there should be some type of like annotation in the beginning, like check the glossary in the back, or a little asterisk and with a footnote, check the glossary in the back. But it does have a supernatural singles world glossary, and it talks about alpha and angels and demons and hex and magical triad, mate, mate bond, pack, prima, shifter, supernatural council, true mate, vampires, witch, warlock, witch bond. Okay, those are the terms. Most of them like demon, angel, all of that. But there were some things like the prima that I just had to, like, using my context clues, I had to figure out. I wasn't really into the whole politics of like this world and stuff like that. Like, I didn't care, but I loved the relationship so much. And I loved the sisterly bond and the familial bond, and like, I don't know. I really enjoyed it. So I do think I'm going to give it a 4 stars. The only downfall about it was that the political part of it that I didn't really care about. But I loved it. It is the first book in a series. I'm not necessarily like dying to get my hands on the other books in the series because it doesn't follow, or I don't believe it's going to be following the same couple. I have an idea who it's going to be following. So it will probably be a trilogy, and it will probably follow each sister. I'll say that. That's my assumption. But yeah, I'm going to write my review out. That always helps me solidify my feelings of a book. But like I said, it's going to be a 3 or a 4 stars. I'm leaning towards a 4, but as I write down like my pros and cons and all of my thoughts, I see if I had more like positive thoughts or negative thoughts. And then that will sway me towards a 3 or a 4. And if you want to hear like my full review, definitely check me out on Goodreads and the Story Graph. or you can always join my Patreon and get reviews of every single book I read every single month. But that is that, and I'm gonna write my review after I choose what I want to read next. I still have this stack right here. All right, friends, I'm officially out of the shower. I wrote my review. I'm landing on a 4 stars. A lot of people rated it 4 stars. I need a snack. I'm really snacky right now, and I don't know if I have anything. I think I'm gonna do like cheese and crackers, but I decided I'm gonna read Go Hex Yourself by 𝒔𝒂𝒗𝒆. So let's get a snack and then let's start reading. I have the perfect cheese and cracker snacks. I have some jalapeno Havarti, and I have this huge 6-pack assorted cracker thing. I have read 18 pages so far, but I thought I would go ahead and read the back of the book so we both know what we're getting into. So again, Go Hex Yourself. There's one hex of an attraction in this romantic comedy from New York Times bestselling author 𝒔𝒂𝒗𝒆. When Reggie Johnson answers a job ad in the paper, she's astonished to find that she's not really applying for work at her favorite card game, Spellcraft, the Magicking. Instead, she's applying to be an actual familiar for an actual witch, as in real magic. And that's basically what happened in this first little part that I read. The new job has a few perks: great room and board, excellent pay, as she's apprenticing to a powerful witch. Sure, the witch is a bit eccentric, and sure, there is the issue with the black cat Reggie would prefer to forget about. The biggest problem, however, is Warlock Ben Magnus, her employer's nephew and the most arrogant, insufferable, maddening man to ever cast a spell. Reggie absolutely hates him. He's handsome, but he's also bossy and irritating and orders her around. Ben's butt might look great in a crystal ball vision, but that's as far as it goes. But when someone with a vendetta targets the household, she finds herself working with Ben to break a deadly curse. Apparently, when they're not fighting like cats and dogs, things get downright bewitching. It is a scorcher out there. I was wearing my sunglasses, I had my sun hat on, but I am so curious what the temperature says. We're gonna look together. $102. I don't know if you could see that, but 102 is the temp. 102 out there, y'all. It is warm. And I do have sunscreen on, and I was wearing sunglasses, and I was wearing my sun hat. I just couldn't take it anymore. I went out there earlier when it was probably a little bit cooler. Came in for a while to cool off. Went out there again. Can't do it anymore. I was probably out there like half an hour. But yeah, so the book is going okay. I don't hate it. I don't love it. It's just very slow paced, and our main character, Reggie, doesn't believe in magic. And obviously in this world, in this story, there is magic. Like making it easy for her to believe, because she's saying like, okay, if magic is real, prove it. But they're not able to do anything to prove that magic is real. And so it's just her saying, magic isn't real, guys. And her employer is going, but it is though. And you're my familiar. And let's do this potion. And it's kind of like, I don't know, can it focus more on her like actually starting to believe in the magic or the romance? Could that like pick up now? But it's not so far, and I'm here, so I'm about a third in. So I have 2/3 left. So I'm gonna keep going, but it's not looking good so far. I just finished my book and it is 7:57. It's 7:57 and the readathon started at 8 p.m. last night and went till 8 p.m. today. So I officially finished 2 books for the readathon. I actually earlier yesterday finished What's Done in Darkness by Laura McHugh, and I rated this one 3 out of 5 stars. I do think the twists were very nice. I liked the length of this book, but I thought it could have been a little bit more fast paced. But yeah, I really liked this one. And then I read Not the Witchy Wed, which I picked up on reading sprints last night, which I read about 150 pages. And then I finished it up this morning and really enjoyed it. I'm rating this one 4 out of 5 stars. I do think over time that my overall enjoyment and remembering this story will fade over time. I mean, maybe it won't, but I'm guessing it will, because it's not like a new all-time favorite, but the reading experience was so great and I loved the touch her and you'll die trope. And then I just finished Go Hex Yourself, which this is the first book in a series, and so is this one. Might, move forward in this one. I'm not really sure, but I definitely will not be moving forward in this one. This book just dragged, and it was so slow paced. I didn't really like the characters that much. I really didn't like the almost non-existent plot. So in the beginning, you have this woman named Reggie who answers this ad for a job. She thinks she's going for one job, but it's actually to be a familiar to a witch. And for a long time, Reggie just doesn't believe that magic is real. And then about, I don't know, a third into the book, she realizes that magic is real, and then the story kind of shifts focus to this other mystery that's going on, and her and Ben have to team up and kind of figure out what's going on, and in the process they fall in love. But I'm like, how? Because I didn't feel their chemistry at all, although they did have lots and lots of sex in detail, and it was just so unnecessary and so much that I was just like, I'm over this. There were like little moments that I liked, but overall, I mean, huge pass in my opinion. So if you were to take any recommendation, it would definitely be this one. But yeah, that wraps up the halfway to Halloween readathon. I did have a lot of fun, and I liked doing the halfway to Halloween because, you know, sometimes like books like these can pile up. And then when it's October, you just run out of time because it's only like so many days in October and you run out of days to read books like this. So breaking it up and reading some halfway through the year really helped me like knock these two off my TBR. And then I also got to just kind of like do some Halloween like trivia and stuff with my patrons. I also posted 3 different like Instagram pictures over on my podcast Instagram at Talk Bookish Podcast, because there were 3 different photo prompts. One was just our TBR, the other was orange book covers, and then the last was books and candy. So yeah, I had a lot of fun taking and sharing those pictures, reading the books, hanging out with my patrons, and then once again, like I said, I was able to knock 2 books off of my TBR that I would have possibly picked up in October. So anyway, that's all for today's vlog. If you're interested in joining my Patreon, it's always linked in the description box down below. I do have our next exclusive 24-hour readathon coming up in July. You're not going to want to miss it. It's another super fun theme that I'm very excited about. But anyway, until next time, bye friends.